So this project is a Vancouver West Side project. Very wet backyard was the main concern. North facing, so it didn't get a lot of sun in sort of fall, winter months. And so the lawn was just a mud pit basically. This was, I think, like a relatively new construction project for the house, and then it's a typical kind of builder's backyard that they did the basics basically. You can see here just the grass not doing very well. The other issue they had was this patio had, you can't really tell in this photo, but quite a significant fall on it. It was just too severe, so they wanted that leveled out a bit, and just something better done with the backyard basically. You can see another thing to point out, like this is something I've come to realize recently, that in the fall and the winter months, concrete patios and stuff like it can just look just messy when they're sort of half wet, half dry. It just looks dirty, along with all the plants dying and all that. It's just something that I've really noticed recently, and sometimes why we use porcelain a lot, because it just stays the same look all year round kind of thing. So it can kind of brighten up your backyard and not have this sort of patchy, damp, sort of uninviting look all winter long. Side path, they wanted to keep a bit of the drainage strip, but just change this completely. Front yard, they didn't like the curved pathway, and so basically just wanted something new and fresh for the whole property. Okay, that's the end of the before photos. Here is the SketchUp model. So this is one of the rare occasions where I don't think I had to make any changes at all. This is the first layout design I came up with, and they loved it straight away, which is handy. So I suggested large format porcelain tile. So you can see these like 2 foot by 4 foot. The old patio line is this, one line back here. So I wanted to extend it just a touch and add this sort of change in shape. So it's not just one straight line all the way across. They wanted sort of fire pit and chill out area, so I suggested a deck in this corner, and that also helps level things out a bit. And then the other thing was to try and just keep areas for planting and figure out a way of getting down to the parking pad, which is down here. And I thought some large format architectural concrete stepping pads or slabs would look pretty cool. So that's the 2D view. Switching into 3D, you can see things a bit clearer. There's the parking area. So yeah, basically presented the model and they liked it straight away. Porcelain going up here as well, keeping the strips here, but leaving porcelain going on by the steps all the way along, just so it can retain the gravel and we can still have the steps. Like a dark pebble or decorative pebble was the preference over there. Front yard, just changing up the path a bit. Instead of the curve shape, have staggered and not perfectly symmetrical, just changing the where it steps in kind of thing. High view and down. Okay, next is during photos, which, oh no, let's show the renders, sorry. So this is getting photorealistic renders done from the SketchUp model. Yeah, looks great. This really helps people visualize, of course. Nice fire pit area. This really shows off the idea of the concrete pads well. It's, it helps to sell the idea because it looks really sharp. Where's the image? I like that one. It looks very cool. Evening, some lighting going in. And loads of renders. Front yard. Looking out from the street. Top view. Evening. Okay. During photos. Okay, so this is after the paving's kind of ripped up. This wall had to be built up because of that slope, and we actually pulled it out here. So we kind of did a new wall in front and went over this, raising the level a bit so the slope wasn't so severe. String line here, just figuring out where to start, because usually you start up against the house, but in this case it's recessed and nothing was very square here, so it didn't really matter. This is all going to be undercover, so there was no need to start up here, and so I figured the best bet would be to figure out starting it on this bottom here where there's a step down, just so it was a clean tile edge as the top of the step instead of a cut. I think I've got another image. I might show that a bit clearer. The front path was one of the first things to happen while the back was getting sorted. Here's the photo that kind of shows what I mean. So this is a factory edge. So if we kept that going, that would be a good reason to start that line there, the paver line like that, rather than having a cut in it, which would be really hard to make it look good coming up from these stairs. Coincidentally, it worked out really well with the stairs over here going up, which meant, because we had to kind of lift these slightly and try and tuck the tile underneath to try and not take all the stairs down if possible. Tried something new this time, used a long straight edge to clamp to the tiles to try and make sure they were nice and straight starting off. Worked out really well actually. Rather than relying on just a string line, clamp them all and it's really straight to get going. And then just filling in the full tiles. So knowing that there'll be cuts along here and another row or two here, but then cuts everywhere else. Front path with no work done to the lawns yet. These are sleeves for wire for landscape lighting and irrigation lines. Bit more of the paving. This is the second to last row. Another row was going to be added out here because we had to build a little mini wall and extend the line out. So that also meant, we could just do up to here and then measure off to make sure we got the wall in exactly the right place. So starting along here was definitely a bonus. And obviously we still measured off the wall of the house just to try and make sure everything was as square as it could be. But of course that wall is not perfectly straight. Here's the tiles down the side, drainage areas left. Planter walls being built. This is when it started turning really horrible weather-wise. Worst November, December since I've lived in Vancouver, that's for sure. Slate tiles, 4-inch wide, being clad over the planter. This is probably my favorite feature on the project. We decided to go all out with this and miter all the corners and then use a grout, color match grout, to try and get a really sharp look on this. So I started at the corner and worked away. This top course of blocks is thinner than the rest, just so that we could then return down a little inside the planter and have the same slate going down. This is in the front yard where I had a station set up to pre-cut everything, and I had to number it all really carefully because I wanted the piece that goes up the wall to then have the same piece that carries on, so that it's all color matched as it wraps over the top edge of the planter and down again, which meant it was very time consuming because you've got to do the miter cut. There's 2 miter cuts there, cut down and then in the other direction to make it able to fold essentially. So it's a lot of cutting, and we could have used all full pieces, but I actually wanted to use the offcut to start the next row and continue on because the grout lines were not going to be color matched between tiles, so it was exaggerating the stone because the contrast I thought looked pretty cool. And then so having these staggered lines all along I thought would be a cool feature as well. There you can see them going in. Beautiful stone. You can see how important it is to have the same tile continue on. If you just cut a whole bunch of these and these were staggered, it would just wouldn't look great. So it was really important to continue the same tile from the same piece going on. Messy job grouting, especially in those temperatures. Horrible job, but well worth it in the end. Yeah, it's just look great. I don't know if you can see there. That's just where the top course is a little narrower than the course below, and that's because we had to, still add these pieces coming down, which kind of took forever, but worth it for the photos. Deck area and bench. There's actually a manhole under here, which you can't really see, but we needed the access to stay like that. So this square section is removable. And we ended up actually the boards going all along from here to here, like the full width. The client didn't want to see cut lines, so we actually made it in a way that you have to take this whole long rectangle section out, and it's tough, but it can be done. It's a two-person job for sure, but yeah, you kind of want it to be tough because you don't want it to be so loose that it just moves around all the time. So this is a stub up for the gas line, slate tile, PVC decking, TimberTech, AZEC, going in there. Lots of measuring twice, cutting once. There it is. Planter again, looking sharp with the little pieces coming down. That's because there's no ways you could fill the soil right up to the top, but it's always going to settle a bit, and you don't want to see any concrete or whatever it is. It just needs to be finished off nicely. So that was the thinking behind that. And also we cut them so that where the lip is on this course here, you could kind of try and wedge something in there to stack them and hold them in place. It was a tricky install, that's for sure, but it looks nice. I think so. And the staggered lines, I think, just adds to it really. Composite or PVC, sorry, decking with the tile. I just love the stone. Relatively affordable as well, which is great, but crazy labor. And there's the decorative pebbles going in. The stuff is also very expensive, only available in small bags rather than bulk. Looks good though. Backyard here is the concrete steps going in. Dried, but without the forms ripped off yet. That's my boy helping me bring in some plants. Yeah, nothing crazy. Pretty much small stuff. Obviously it's filled in now. Adding some color there. Yeah, so this is front yard. I just took a photo of these trees because I love them so much. Look at that. Very cool. Okay, that's all the during photos. So finished photos. These are all on the website. So anytime you want to look at them, just check them out on the website. Really happy with this project. It's just really rewarding when everything turns out how you pictured it in your head. But I guess that's also the beauty of the 3D modeling software, is that you can get it, pretty accurate in that. So you're pretty confident going into the project that it's going to turn out great. I really need to just try and get some evening photos taken at some point. Contact the clients and ask if I can do that next spring, summer. So yeah, definitely one of our favorites, this project. Top view, that's what sometimes people talk about, the renders being too nice. You don't want them to outdo your project, but I think we outdid the renders even on this one. Front yard. Very cool project. I think eventually they decided to get rid of the grass here and put some planting in. We've recommended a horticulturalist for some of their stuff that they carried on with, and this is it's just too much shade in this section and it really struggled. So this is all planting now, which I'd love to get more photos of. So yeah, cool neighborhood, cool project. Very happy with it.